You've been rejected by all the firms you've applied to this cycle, and I feel for you. I saw this post from one of our members in the forum this week. But what do you do to get an offer this year? I'm going to talk through how many years it actually takes to get a training contract, why rejection baggage is holding you back, and how to get there as fast as possible. First, how many years does it take to get a training contract? Most people take 3 years, and that's because there's a gap between all the stuff you know when you start and all the stuff a law firm expects at the point at which you get to an interview. You need to know what makes that firm different from other firms you've applied to. You need to be ready to draw upon examples for all the possible questions they could ask you. And that's not even talking about the online tests or the application stage. So that gap is why it takes time. But you can actually learn what most people take in 3 years in just 1 year. One of the biggest levers you have is just, I need to accelerate as much time as I can to put into this process, to go to events, to learn all that knowledge, to practice your writing, to practice your motivations. Your goal in the application process is to get rejected as many times as you can and to learn as fast as possible from those rejections. Often what happens for candidates, they get rejected and they draw these conclusions about themselves. So they'll be like, okay, this firm I really like rejected me. I'm not cut out for this process. I'm never going to get a training contract. And I understand why you think that, but I'd keep in mind that when a law firm rejects you, what they're actually just saying is this person was not the right fit at this point in time in this very specific style of interview. And so it's a lot to ride on that everything comes together for that. But what a law firm isn't saying is this person is never going to get a training contract or they're not good enough. That's something that's very common for us to just like ascribe to ourselves that, okay, I'm going to draw big conclusions about this. The reason this is so important is a strong candidate is not one that just goes through the training contract process effortlessly. It's a candidate that gets rejected and then comes back and then gets rejected and then keeps coming back. And so your ability to deal with rejection is such an important determination of your ability to get a training contract. And the more you can see rejection as data, which is what did the firm tell me I didn't do well? And if I looked honestly, what did I not do well? The more you have awareness of what you need to work on to improve. You want to avoid rejection baggage. Many candidates in their first year, they go to an interview and they're so motivated, so excited, actually confident they're going to get this, and then they get rejected. And then there are candidates I've seen who've been through multiple cycles, and I can almost see that they have assumed they're going to be rejected before they've even started, just because of all of those past experiences. That's the baggage. The problem with that is you can go to an interview and the firm would have thought you were really good, but because of the way you caveat your answers or you just don't seem to really believe in it because of the rejections you've had, they are almost convinced that they shouldn't give you an offer. And so the best thing you can do is really understand that, yes, I've been rejected in the past, but I'm going to go into this new cycle confident that I'm going to get a training contract out of it. Now, I've talked about the rejection. What do you actually do this year? You need 3 things. 1 is time, 2 is desire, and 3 is a willingness to confront honest truths about the process. On the point of time, the more time you can devote to the training contract process, usually the more likely you are to be successful because you'll pick up all the knowledge you need to learn and all the skills much faster. And this is hard for most people because they are studying or working at the same time. So you want to be intentional about pulling time away from the things in the short term towards your future career. And you can think about that now. So when it comes to September, October, November, what do I need to put in place so that I'm dedicating time every single day towards the training contract process? On the point of desire, I fully believe that anyone can get a training contract. And so if you really, really want this and you're willing to stay in it long enough, you will get one. And I often speak to people, they will give up after a certain number of years because it is so hard to keep going for something where it's just back-to-back rejection. But it's also nice to know if you're confident, okay, I really want to be a commercial lawyer, and you start to see progress, it may not be linear, but you will get there. Third, you need to be willing to confront hard truths about yourself. It's very common to go to an interview and you'll get rejected and you will say things like, which I do myself, I didn't want to go to that firm anyway, or actually they said this really weird thing and I don't like them that much and it wasn't about me. The problem about this is, yes, no doubt there are problems with law firm processes, but you want to be aware of the things you don't do well. And if you turn it back to the law firm, it means you're going to be less aware and less able to look at yourself objectively. The best thing you can do is, I'm going to look back honestly about what I do in an interview or an application. And yes, maybe I actually do struggle with commercial awareness. Or in my case, I knew in group exercises, I needed to speak up more. Or maybe you notice, okay, I sometimes say things in interviews and I've had feedback from people that it doesn't come across well. If you can objectively look at what you don't do well, that just gives you space for what to work on, and then you can fully apply that into the new cycle. You can get a training contract in the next cycle, but you need to be able to look at yourself honestly and think about, what did I not do so well? Try to separate out any past rejection you've had. You want to avoid that rejection baggage. And you want to make sure you really devote enough time into this process. I broke down exactly how you go about doing that in the next video.